Hi everyone! So before we get started on the video, this is editing Asher after I already finished the video and I finished the script and recorded it. And the thing is that the way I had planned to do this is that I was still finishing up watching what was out so far of My Hero while I was doing this. And I had finished the script and recorded it and got everything done, and I still had like 3 episodes left of the show, or what I thought was the show. And then afterwards I realized that it was not the end of the show. We still have 1 more season. So yes, when I'm talking about the show being over, I am incorrect in that. And I realized that the reason I thought that was because a friend of mine had told me that the show was over, so I thought it was over. So with that, enjoy the video as is, take it with a grain of salt, and just pretend that it came out after October or something. I know that I'm a bit silly. Okay, onto the video. As a forewarning, before I get started on this video, there will be some pictures of snakes, so if you are scared of photos of snakes, you have been warned. Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I'm Asher, and y'all, I have been missing out. Despite being into anime and manga and video games for ages, I have drawn very few original characters to be in these settings that I love. Although I've imagined many of them, I would have daydreams all the time when I was a kid of just inserting a new character into whatever I was reading at the time. But I almost never actually drew these characters, and this is kind of an example of one of my biggest flaws. I tend to spend way too much time thinking about things and not enough time actually doing stuff. Not enough time trying to share these silly little things that live on in my brain and go on forever and ever because I never get them out of my brain. But since I finally caught up on My Hero Academia and can celebrate the end of this damn show, what better time than this to finalize my OC idea that I had for this? I came up with this idea like a year ago, and the things I knew about her early on was 1, she's a girl, 2, she's a member of Class 1A, because of course she is, 3, her quirk is relativity. She can speed up or slow down the relative time of herself or something she touches. This makes it so that she can essentially make things move faster or slower, but still only has the endurance and body of a regular person. 4, she is very good with technology and machines, using the skills as one way to make up for her physical limitations. This makes her good at infiltration-style missions, and was also how I initially theorized that she passed the entrance exam, using scrap material and her abilities to get into the robots, what would they be called? I guess circuit boards, and break them down, meaning that she's also very resourceful. 5, her hero name is Fast Forward. 6, since she is focused more on stealth, mobility, and speed, she is very athletic. And 7, she is primarily a close-range fighter. Since I haven't read the manga, I'm focusing on the anime for the style of this project. I want the character to look like they belong in the show, which I think is going to be a fun challenge. Speaking of the show, I have thoughts on My Hero, and I'm not going to share much of them here. Let's just say I'm glad it's finally over, and finishing it was a bit of a chore for me. I'm pretty sure I would have dropped it if I didn't have a friend waiting for me to catch up. I honestly think it had a really good start, some really amazing moments, and then it just buckled under the weight of the finale because it got too big for its britches. That's it. That's all I'm going to say on the show. Now, let's make a new fake classmate for Deku and the gang. Unfortunately, I couldn't find my original sketch, which exists somewhere in one of my class notes, but my first idea was a character with silvery blonde straight hair, this tracksuit inspired outfit, and a high-tech visor/headphone set. But when I revisited this design, I felt like it looked too similar to Todoroki and decided to reconsider her entire look. So the way that my brain worked is it followed this really weird train of thought. It was like, an animal might be fun, since most of the girls have really conventional looks and appearances. What relates to both slow and fast? What about predators, who start slow and stealthy and then burst into a moment of speed when they attack, kind of like a cheetah, but I don't want to do a cheetah because cat girls are just overdone. What about a rattlesnake, whose tails could be used to design the hair as either beads or locks? Oh my gosh, that sounds awesome. I'd love to draw that, and thus we landed on a rattlesnake theme. The rattlesnake idea really led this whole process and was also why I made her an American exchange student attending UA for the year, since rattlesnakes are native to the States, especially the southwestern US, which was also why I decided she's from Los Angeles instead of New York. I tried a couple different ideas for her hair. I already knew immediately that I wanted to do something that was similar to locks. And then I remembered this hairstyle that I had saved on Pinterest for ages and really wanted to see if I could imitate that into this design, and I think it worked out pretty well. I had a lot of fun just getting ideas down over the past couple weeks and figuring out how her hair, face, and markings worked. I especially love the detail of her long pointed fangs. They're so cute, and her big snaky eyes. This part also helped me narrow in on her personality. Overall, she's pretty friendly and optimistic, but she tends to overthink things and can become anxious about making mistakes or doing the wrong thing. And I think the personality quirk that she has, because all of the characters have a personality quirk on top of their power, is that sometimes her ability will take effect based on her mood, such as slowing down when she's sad or speeding up to near incomprehensibility when she becomes flustered or excited. I made a digital sketch to try to figure out her main color scheme, which took quite a bit of trial and error. At first, I used colors pulled directly from an actual picture of a rattlesnake, but something about it didn't look right, and yeah, the next day I played with the saturation on my phone and got to something I liked much more and fit with the vibrance of the anime better too. I was still stuck on the eyes though. I already loved the look, but the colors were just not coming together. Since I wasn't getting anywhere, I just googled snake eyes, was kind of browsing through images when I found this picture. And these eyes, these green and red eyes from a snake that is totally not a rattlesnake at all, was perfect. I ended up with these bold red and yellow eyes that just worked and ended up being one of my favorite parts of her design. After this part was done, I also made a sketch of her hero's costume, which I completely forgot to record, but here's a picture of the sketch. As you can see, it still has the athletic style and the visor from the original design. I also knew I needed her arms and waist to be bare, as safe spaces for people to be able to touch her and use her quirks, such as saving a bunch of people from a fire or natural disaster, where she could use her quirk to get them out of the situation quickly while allowing them to physically move at their own pace. I took inspiration from these running vests, which I think are for carrying and drinking water, and added a little pistol attached to her thigh, an idea from Tracer's design. I thought it was kind of cool for a rattlesnake themed character to have this because rattlesnakes, cowboys and westerns, handguns, it just kind of works in my head. For the weapon itself, it can only shoot accurately from about 30-ish feet away, but still is better than nothing, and instead of normal bullets, she uses custom bullets from these little containers on her vest, each one doing something different for different purposes. The yellow has a small electric charge, purple is smoke, and the red is a small explosive. These are designed more for assistance than for real combat. And there is some metal bracing on her shins and shoes, offering a little support to her kicks when fighting. As for the colors, I knew from the very first inception of this character that she has this bright blue cyan in her outfit. At first I was going to pair that with green, but I didn't like it with her new design. I tried a couple different things and then took another look at the costumes in the show. This was when I noticed almost all of the designs in the show have black as a big chunk of their uniform. It still looked kind of bland with just the black and the cyan, but then adding white to balance made it really all come together, and holy shit, there she is! Finally, it was time to make the eye catcher. So those little commercial break moments in anime where it'll be like a little animation or a clip before it goes to a commercial and then comes back, those are apparently called commercial bumpers or eye catchers. and I didn't know that until making this video, so that's kind of neat. While I wanted a full character sheet, I knew I wanted it to mimic the look of the My Hero eye catchers, and I feel like I pulled this off really well. The final thing just screams My Hero, it's great. So the My Hero eye catchers always include the same character details, all of which I wanted to have on this sheet, starting with her name, of course. Like I said before, her hero name is Fast Forward, which refers to how she can increase her time to move faster, but it's also a little misleading, kind of hiding the fact that she can slow things down as well. But her real name is Yo-Yo Hibilia. Her name is written in katakana since she is not Japanese, but I still included a few references which fit with the naming convention of My Hero's world. It's common in Japanese media for names to be really reflective of the character due to names usually being written in kanji, which can have multiple meanings, and My Hero really leans into this. For Yo-Yo, her first name sounds like a word that means from generation to generation or through the ages, which is very loosely connected to her quirk and to the concept of time, but I mostly just thought it sounded cute. I also think it is short for Yolanda, but everybody calls her Yo-Yo. And her last name, Hibilia, has the sound hebi in the beginning, which is the Japanese word for snake. Her affiliation is that she is a student at the UA High School in Class 1A, of course, and she is an American exchange student. Her birthday is September 20th, making her a Libra because of this one site that said that Libras are cooperative, indecisive, and hate injustice, which all fit her quite well. She is 174 centimeters, or about 5'7", which is slightly taller than me and is between Momo and Todoroki's height. She has blood type A because supposedly people with A type are, quote, known to be highly organized, particularly precise, and pay much attention to details, and they seek harmony among other people. This works for her because she often over-relies on her quirk to slow herself down and overthink about the situation she's in. It's actually a big part of her character arc that she has to learn to trust her instincts more, that she can't always plan for everything no matter how much time she thinks she has. And she likes egg sandwiches, because snakes like eggs, and a good egg sandwich is freaking delicious. In actually rendering this eye catcher, I didn't do too much extra work, just the flat colors, a single dark gray set to 50% opacity for the cell shading, and I had a little bit of highlights at first, but removed those at the end. I didn't feel like it added much to her design, and besides, really dense kinky hair is usually more soft and fluffy rather than reflective and shiny. Because of the way I make OCs is just rewriting parts of the media I'm playing with inside my own head, I do imagine Yo-Yo as being part of the show if she existed, so here's some fun facts about her. As I said, Yo-Yo is originally from LA, and she grew up in a multicultural household. She is part Latina and grew up speaking both English and Spanish, learning Japanese later in school in order to attend UA as an exchange student. She develops a competitive friendship with Ida since they're both runners and rely so much on speed. They'll often train together or race one another a lot to see who can get to one spot faster than the other. Since Yo-Yo relies on her equipment so much, she is also close with Mei Hatsume, sometimes agreeing to test new experiments in exchange for work on her stuff. This also means that there's a gag where early in the show, Yo-Yo will just show up once in a while covered in dust and looking like she's been in a small explosion from an accident, and no one knows why until meeting Hatsume-chan during the tournament arc, which is when they learn that Yo-Yo is friends with her. For the Hero Agency internships, Yo-Yo actually joins Shinso and trains under Aizawa-sensei, since she has a useful but not the most physically strong quirk similar to Shinso. In the Paranormal Liberation War arc, she would actually sneak onto Gigantomachia to use her quirk to slow him down as much as possible, literally standing on his foot and not wearing anything on her feet to help apply her quirk better. And when the villains riding him notice something is wrong, it's Spinner who goes to investigate, because I think a gecko villain against a snake hero would be a good foil of one another. And of course, this would mean that she would be part of the final fight up against Spinner as well. Yo-Yo chose to go to UA because of All Might, who inspired her hero, Stars and Stripes. And yes, she is devastated when Stars dies, because at least someone that we care about needs to, like, make a reaction to her loss. Throughout her time at school, she's working on improving her endurance and combat skills, as well as controlling her quirk to be able to isolate her ability, such as slowing down an opponent while herself is still sped up. Yo-Yo, of course, only learns that this is something that she can do after an intense battle of some kind, maybe during her encounter with Spinner on Gigantomachia. And that is everything I have on her. Thank you so much for watching. This was actually a lot of fun to work on and to make. I'll do more OC videos in the future. I am kind of surprised how much thought I could put into this one single idea, but here we are. It was also nice to make something a little shorter so I can get started on the video after this, which is going to be a larger project. For those who started following me for my Shapira video, I am so happy to say that Diesel Punk is coming up next. My goal is to get it out before the end of the summer. I don't know if it will be as detailed as Dolls, but it'll be something at least. If you liked this video, comment, like, subscribe, all the YouTube things. If you feel like it, you don't have to. I hope you have a wonderful day, week, whatever, and I'll see you next time. Bye!
Hey, bud.